Good afternoon, my dear BSCM2 students. So welcome to our class, Fundamentals of Data Warehousing, or also known as BAFWare. So this course is designed to introduce students to the fundamentals of data warehousing for managers. Data warehousing is used in business intelligence, enabling managers to make critical decisions based on different business transactions. Managers of businesses should be able to see opportunities for exploiting data coming from transaction using data warehouse. This provides a discussion on how to adopt data warehousing as an approach for managing data, highlighting the needed resources to roll out a data warehouse. So for our first discussion, we have the database systems. So by the way, I'm your instructor, Mrs. Shireen A. Navarro. So database systems. First, we have to differentiate data and information. So if we're going to talk on data warehousing or data warehouse, we are engaged or focused on data. So data is one of the most critical assets of any business. So when we say data, it refers to raw facts or what we call the building blocks of information. So like for example, name, age, address, sex, marital status. Those are examples of data. Data, as important as it is, so it needs robust. So data should be robust, should be secure, and highly available software that can store and process it quickly. So the answer to these requirements is a solid and a reliable database. On the other hand, information, so when we say information, it is what we call a data process to reveal meaning. Or when we say information, it is the process data. So like for example, we have a data grade. Your grade in mathematics, your grade in science, your grade in management, and other subject. That is what we call the data, or that is an example of a data. But if we're going to determine the average grade, then that is now what we call the information. So your grade is the data and your average grade is the information. So data must be accurate, relevant, and timely information. So these are the key to a good decision making. So good decision making is the key to survival in a global environment. So it is very important then that we need to have what we call a database software. So database software usage is pervasive, yet it is taken for granted by the billions of daily users worldwide. So its presence is everywhere, from retrieving money through an automatic teller machine to badging access at a secure office location. So that's it. Data versus information versus knowledge. So as you can see on the image, data has the highest or the biggest part of a data warehouse. And then as we process those data, it lessens. So information and then knowledge. Knowledge is on the top. If you've noticed, it has the least number. But knowledge has the highest value compared to data. Okay, so on the given example, transforming raw data into information. So like for example, initial survey, on the first picture is the initial survey. So that is your data. And then on the second picture, so based from the initial survey, we can now come up with a raw data. So from the individual survey, we can now create a table or a summary of those individual data. And on the third picture, there is now a summary or information in a summary format. And on the last is the information in a graphic format. So if we're going to transform the data into information, if we see a chart, so it is easier for us to interpret the data. So graphic is much easier to understand than the usual text. Introducing the database and the DBMS. When we say DBMS, we're referring to the database management system. So database is a collection of data which is related by some aspect. So data is collection of data is a collection of facts and figures which can be processed to produce information. Like for example, name of a student, age, class, and her subjects can be counted as data for recording purposes. Database can be shared or it should be shared. It is integrated computer structure that stores end user data and metadata. So when we say metadata, we're referring to a data within a data. So we have a data and then inside that data or within that data, there is another data. So that is metadata. So mostly data represents recordable facts. Data aids in producing information which is based on facts. So database management system. It is a collection of programs that manages database structure and controls access to data. So it is possible to share data among multiple applications or users. It also makes data management more efficient and effective. So a database management system stores data in such a way which is easier to retrieve, manipulate, and helps to produce information. For your assignment, so this will be your first assignment. So why do we need database software or a DBMS? Can you not just store data in simple text files, for example? So that is your assignment. Moreover, there are different types of databases. First, so databases can be classified by First, number of users. So number of users, so databases can have a single user or a multi-user. So when we say single user, a database supports only one user at a time. So single user database running on a personal computer. Always remember, when you say single user, the database supports only one user at a time. While multi-user, so the database supports multiple users at the same time. Like for example, work group. So multi-user database that supports a small group of users or a single department. Another type of multi-user is enterprise. Multi-user database supports a large group of users or an entire organization. So the best example here is what we call the enterprise database. So types of databases can also be classified by location. So it can be centralized or it can be distributed. So when we say centralized, it supports data located at a single site. So like for example, using enrollment in a university. So the system there is, or the database is centralized because all the data, all the transactions of the student stored in the registrar's office. Another one is distributed. Distributed supports data distributed across several sites. Like for example, banks. There are different branches of banks wherein they use the same system. Types of databases, so it can also be classified by use. We have the transactional database, or what we call the production database. So this database supports a company's day-to-day operations. It supports day-to-day operation. Another one is data warehouse. Data warehouse stores data used to generate information required to make tactical or strategic decisions. It is also often used to store historical data. So when we say historical data, we're referring to the past data. Data warehouse, the structure of data warehouse is quite different compared to the standard data warehouse or standard database. So that's all for the first topic on fundamentals of data warehouse. See you on the next topic.